Welcome to Behind the Scenes at the Hanover Theater. Now, here's your host, Lisa Condit.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in and listening today. I am so excited to be here on the phone with Brad Sherwood. Brad, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I was reading a little bit about you, and I have to say, of course, I've watched Whose Line Is It Anyway? That's probably your most famous thing that you've done. But
I would say that's true.
Well, you've won lots of awards, and what's really nice is you're coming and you're touring with Colin, and the two of you together, you've actually been to the Hanover Theater before. I don't know if you remember or not, but you came and performed a couple of years ago. Big crowd pleaser. Everybody thought you were hysterical.
We are pretty awesome, I must admit. Yes, we do lots of shows in the New England area. That's one of our, that and the Great Lakes are the places that we've been going back to year in, year out.
Well, what's so nice is that you guys are honestly funny, and there's definitely that element, of course, of impromptu, being inspired by what's around you. How do you take what you've done in the past with, say, Whose Line Is It Anyway, and incorporate that into your tour?
Well, we play some games that are like games from Whose Line and some that we've come up with on our own and adapted, and, we've changed them so that we can do them with an audience and we don't need a third person or a fourth person from the show. So it's just the two of us, and we get suggestions, and we bring people up on stage, and it's even more interactive with the audience than the Whose Line shows were.
Isn't that great? And you know what? I have to say, listening to you speak, I can't help but think, what a great job. You've made a career out of having fun and coming up with fun games for entertainment. But surely it's not all fun and games. There's definitely got to be some hard work and struggle in there, right?
There's really not struggle. The struggle is just having done it for so many years, and the trial and error of getting good at it in front of an audience when you first start out in improv. That's sort of where you pay your dues when you're young and trying to figure out how to make audiences laugh. And as far as the tour, Colin and I have been touring now together, doing this show for 10 years, and the travel is the only hard part. Doing the show is always fun and exciting because it's never the same twice. So there's no monotony to the actual performing of our show, which is great. And there are very few shows that can say that, because most shows are about repetition and recreating the same musical or the same set list of songs.
Well, it just sounds so completely, like you said, refreshing, and it's always different. There've got to be some funny things that you learned along the way when you were saying as you're starting out. Anything you want to share with our listeners, hard lessons that you learned back in those early years?
Well, the drunker the audience is, the bluer the show will become, because they're the ones yelling out suggestions. And, so when you perform at comedy clubs instead of theaters, the personality of the show certainly changes in that venue. But now that we're doing theaters, the audiences that we have are far more refined than those days.
Well, mostly they're better behaved. It depends how raunchy you get, though, because I think as soon as raunchy enters in, everybody gets boisterous, right?
Yeah, we try to steer them away from that, just because the ages of the audience. We have people in there from, some people bring their kids as young as 10, 11, and, we have kids there that are 20 that used to watch our show when they were 10 or 11 that are now, people with jobs. So it's great. Our young fan base is now a ticket-buying fan base.
It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, it's funny, too, because I was looking through some of the things that you've done, and, geez, you've done an unbelievable number of episodes of Drew Carey's Green Screen Show, and then you were on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Something like over 100 different appearances and sketches on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno over the last 15 years. That's incredible.
I haven't actually done it in quite some time, but when Jay first started out on The Tonight Show, I was basically on pretty much every day. They were always doing sketches and bits after the monologue, and I was just sort of one of their go-to guys. And so every day I show up, and they were like, okay, today you're going to be a werewolf, and you're going to be riding a motorcycle. And then the next day I was like a Hare Krishna. It was just, you never knew. It was really fun. They always wrote some sort of visual sketch-like joke that I got to be part of.
That's great. Well, and the one that makes me laugh is when you did the dating show for the dating game for a short amount of time? Because I remember when I was growing up watching the original dating game from, oh gosh, would that be from the 70s? I'm sure it is.
With Jim Lang as the host.
That's right. And so I always thought that was such an interesting show, not because I wanted to be on the dating game, but because it's just kind of funny. And you never know what the guests or the people who are looking for the dates are going to say. What was that experience like for you?
It was fun. I did a whole season, so I shot like 120 episodes. It was really, it was fun. I always have liked hosting. It's kind of a thing where you get to talk to people and you get to use a little bit of your improv ability, because you never know what's going to happen during the show, and you got to roll with it and keep it going. But it was fun to see the people on the show that were trying to get a date. Some were obviously really looking for a relationship. Others were, out-of-work actors trying to just get on a show. So it was always funny, because you never know what people at that age, generally it was sort of young 20-somethings, sort of exposing their foibles and their embarrassments and what they thought was cool.
Well, and I remember hearing that Tom Selleck back in the day was on the dating game, but nobody chose him.
Yeah, I think that's true.
How funny is that?
I don't know if you ever watched Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yes.
But Cheryl Hines, who played his wife on the show, she was a contestant on the dating game when I was hosting it.
So really, truly, there are a lot of actors that participate in that, huh?
Oh yeah, a lot of game show contestants on all sorts of game shows are out-of-work actors that live here in L.A. Actors are really good contestants because they tend to be smart. They have high energy. So when I first moved out here, I was on Win, Lose, or Draw as a contestant. So it's a good place to get a one-day gig, and you might win some money in the process. And
how great is that?
Yeah.
So what are some of the highlights? You've had a really great career. You won lots of awards. You're having lots of fun. It's been going on for a while. I can't even believe you started acting at age 8. But what are some of the highlights?
Well, I know this sounds weird, but really my favorite thing that I have done in my career is this tour that Colin and I are doing, because it's our show. We get to do whatever we want. We get to travel all over the world to do it, and it's never the same twice. So there's no monotony. There's no boring aspect. It's exciting, and you don't sit in a trailer. Like if you work on a movie, you sit in a trailer most of the time, then you walk out, you do 2 lines, and then you go sit in your trailer for another 3 hours. So that's sort of a group effort, like making a jigsaw puzzle, one piece every 3 hours.
Oh, it sounds great. And so when you and Colin first met each other, what was the chemistry like?
Oh, it was fine. We were both improvisers, and improvisers tend generally to be a little more friendly than stand-ups in general, because stand-ups are sort of a little more competitive and, working at their material and trying to come up with that joke, whereas improvisers have to work with each other. So by their nature, they have to be more social and open to other people's ideas.
And so were you always interested in improv, or when you first started out, were you interested in something else?
Well, when I first started out acting, I didn't really know much about improv. There wasn't a lot of it going on, at least that I knew of. And then I sort of saw an improv group in college, and I thought, oh, that's great. And then when I moved out to L.A. to become an actor, a friend of mine said, you should take this improv class. And I did, and sort of the clouds opened up and said, this is what you were meant to do. And I never stopped doing it. I performed like every week in shows all over the city, and then got into Second City and Theater Sports, and then eventually onto Who's Line.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And one thing I didn't realize about you is I didn't realize that you're also a singer.
Yes, I do have sort of a musical. I did a lot of musical theater when I was in school, in grade school, coming up, and all the way through college. So I sort of got a musical ear and learned how to sing and play a little bit of guitar. But that has helped me in the improv world, doing all the song prop stuff.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Brad? We have to take a quick break. So everybody hold on. We're going to be right back to continue our conversation with Brad Sherwood here on Behind the Scenes at the Hanover Theater, WCRN AM 830.
Now, back to more of Behind the Scenes at the Hanover Theater. And your host, Lisa Condon.
Welcome back once again as we continue our conversation with Brad Sherwood. And he is coming to the Hanover Theater this Thursday. The performance is at 7:30, and it's part of the Mochrie and Sherwood National Tour. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so people, I'm sure, are wondering, in case they haven't been to the show before, exactly what can they expect? How long is the show? Let's start there.
Well, the show's about 2 hours with intermission, and what they can expect is, who knows? It's all improv. We bring audience members up on stage. We use their suggestions as a starting place for everything that we do on stage. So it's never the same show twice. We play some games from Whose Line and a bunch of others that we've come up with over the years. And, we fly by the seat of our pants and take them on a journey.
The wonderful journey of Brad Sherwood and Colin Mochrie, right?
Absolutely. And, it's fun because it's so interactive with the audience that, they enjoy it on a different level than just a regular comedy show.
Now, I'm sure that there are going to be many hysterical moments when you're at the Hanover Theater, but are there any particular really funny episodes in your tour that stand out as you're thinking about what you've experienced over the last few years?
It's so hard to remember them, really. We're so just flying by the seat of our pants that after the show we can't even remember what happened until someone says, "Oh, that thing you did as the plumbers, that was hilarious." And we go, "Oh yeah, okay, now I remember." Because your mind is so instantly in the moment through the whole show. So that for 2 hours your brain is going, "Okay, now what? Now what? Now
Wow.
what? Now what?" It's hard to really catalog any of it as memorable moments.
So once it's gone, it's in the rearview mirror, and you're on to
It
the
really
next
is.
thing.
It really is.
How do you train for that? You know what I mean? I know you've got to have a sharp wit, and you need to be intelligent, you need to be current, but how do you train your brain or keep it flexible so that really you can shift gears like that? It's amazing.
It's in the doing, the
It's in the
repetition
doing.
of having done it for so many years. Colin and I have both been doing it for over 25 years. So you just get good at it from playing in coffee clubs and comedy clubs and everywhere.
Wow. And so you mentioned that there's a lot of audience interaction. Do you pull people from all over the audience, or do you focus on one particular area?
No, we just, sometimes we have people raise hands and we bring them up. There's no formula to getting who we get. We always want people that want to be on stage as opposed to, we would never drag someone up that didn't want to be up there.
Right. Well, the reason I'm asking is because, people are funny sometimes. We have 2,300 seats in our theater. We've got, obviously, the orchestra and the balcony section. And what I have found in most shows is that it really doesn't matter where you're sitting. So don't be worried, I guess, is my message to the audience members who might be listening. If you're seeing tickets that are in the balcony, you're still going to have a great time.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not like you're going to ignore the people on the balcony and they're never going to have a chance to interact with you.
Oh, no, we get suggestions from everywhere.
And we have these amazing volunteers. We have over 200 volunteers that all work our shows as the ushers. And I am sure that they're going to help, control the masses in a very friendly, positive way so that everybody who has the opportunity is respectful and gets the word out there to you.
Oh, yeah.
So
we've never had a riot so far.
Nobody has rushed to the stage and demanded, "I need to have my time with Brad."
We've had an occasional person sort of wander up on stage back in the old days, maybe a little drunk, but we're very experienced at dealing with the unknown.
So do you have any words of wisdom or advice for people who might just be starting out and they think that improv seems really fun? Is it really just in the practice, or are there some other
really
tips?
Is. It's like anything. If you want to become a really good violinist, you have to play violin all the time. It's like any art form or sport. You just get better by doing it as much as you can.
It's the 10,000 hours, right?
Yeah.
It's 10,000 hours to greatness. And you have way more than 10,000 hours behind you.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm looking at your
100,000.
I'm looking at your picture. I've been looking at, your sites and everything, and you talked about how you've been doing this for over 20 years. I can't even believe it's been that long because you're both looking great. And where did the time fly? 20 years.
I don't know.
Goes like that.
We have so many people that come to our show now in their 20s that say, "I watched you when I was a little kid," And you're like, wow, we've really been doing it that long, have we?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we all, as improvisers, kind of feel childlike, I guess, to a certain, very immature. We're sort of grown men, but we, in our minds, are kind of like boys. And so it's weird to think that we've been doing this so long that we're actually, very mature, older gentlemen, but...
You're seasoned professionals at this point.
I guess, yes. Lots of seasoning.
But lots of fun at the same time. So that's really great. We are so looking forward to having you at the theater once again. Again, that's this Thursday night, February 6th. The show starts at 7:30. Tickets are available on our website, which is thehanovertheater.org. This interview will be posted on our blog Behind the Scenes at the Hanover Theater, also on our website. And boy, it's been such a pleasure talking to you, Brad. I can't wait, like I said, to see you. I've enjoyed everything I've ever seen you do, and I'm ready to just laugh, laugh, laugh.
Well, we will see you there, and we're looking forward to it.
Okay,
perfect. I
perfect.
hope the weather is good.
Oh, come on. We're all New Englanders. I know you're from warm areas, but originally Chicago, right?
I'm just talking about travel, I just want
You'll get here.
I just want planes that get there. There's so many flights canceled. That's all I'm worried about.
Well, if you were here, the show will go on. That's an important point to make for everybody. And New England is a little wacky, but I believe that next Thursday is going to be a beautiful, sunshiny day with clear roads ahead.
I have lots of days to get there, so that's good.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so everybody, we'll see you at the theater. Thank you again, Brad. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, and we'll see you at the theater.
Terrific. Thanks.
Before we go to the next break, I just wanted to give you a little taste of what treats are in store for you. Here's a bit from Colin Mochrie and Brad Sherwood's The Two-Headed Expert.
Good
evening,
ladies
and
gentlemen,
and
welcome
to
my
symposium
on
all
things
related
to
relationships,
love,
sex,
and
romance.
If
you
have
any
questions,
please
feel
free
to
ask
them
of
us.
We
are
the
love
doctor.
Just
raise
your
hand
and
we
will
bring
a
microphone
to
you
and
have
you
ask
your
question.
So
Raise
your
hands.
First
question.
I've noticed that there's two states of being. Is it better to be right or is it better to be happy?
Being
right
is
overrated.
Next
question.
There's a really cute girl in my class that sits ahead of me a few rows. What are some good pickup lines I could use to, get her in the mood or something like that?
Hey.
You.
Next
question.
Going bald is a kind of hereditary thing in my family. Is balding really a bad thing for the ladies, or do they like that?
Balding
is
terrible.
If
you
are
Canadian. Next
question.
What's a good way to come out of the closet?
Open
the
door.
Next
question.
What if my partner wants to add a third person to the mix?
Have
a
wild
time
with
them.
Both.
Because
variety
is
the
spice
of
life.
And
three's
not
company.
It's
fun.
Next
question.
Around how much is it going to cost for a night with both of you?
We
are
absolutely
free. Next
question.
Love doctors. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
I've
got
wood.
We
Have
time
for
just
one
more
question.
So
Please.
ask.
Love doctors. Does the female G-spot truly exist?
To
A
normal
person,
finding
the
G
spot
might
be
difficult.
but
If
you
have
a
GPS,
then
you
are
likely
to
find
it. Thank
you
and
good
night.